Here is the division.
Hello, guys. Do I have a sound? Yeah. My name is Rodrigo Cortez, and I'm the brand art director on the division. I'm going to talk to you about immersion, about how we immerse players and people. And this is something very interesting because normally you hear about art direction, you hear about technology, you hear about specific features. But this concept of immersion is something that is used from, you need all disciplines to work together to be able to achieve immersion. So if we roll a movie explaining the game. Sorry. So what is The Division? The Division is a new entry to the Tom Clancy franchise where you play one of a group of agents that is specifically trained for a pandemic, and they're based on civilians like you and me, but they get this special training and technology so that they can cope with this situation. In the case of The Division, it's also based on New York, and the events that happen around New York. It's developed by Massive, a studio that is a part of Ubisoft, and with the help of Reflections and Red Storm Entertainment, the original creators of Tom Clancy games. We also use the Snowdrop Engine that is developed for this game and for new generation of games that is coming also for Xbox One, PS4, and PC. And there seems to be a weird transition here. I think the whole presentation actually died. Oh. So what do we want to achieve? We want to immerse the player at all times, and it's about doing complete immersion. And like I said before, you need to have different disciplines and a very strong passion for this, and you really want to do something that I don't think has been done before, especially for being an RPG game. And how do we do it? So we have a little agenda here of the different parts I'm going to talk about. First, that we have a dynamic world. The world is not static. It's always changing and moving. And we care about the little things as much as the big things. And then at the end, it's going to be about how you read this world and how you interact with this world. And everything I'm going to talk about is to achieve complete immersion. So first of all, a dynamic world. What do we mean with that? It's a world that is not static, and it's almost a world where you actually don't have to even interact in the world, and there's still things going on. That's the feeling we want. We want to immerse you completely. So we have some examples. First, a living world. There is so many details going on to create a living world. And in this case, for example, and I think nobody actually even noticed this, is that you get snow on the shoulders of the agent when you're outside and it's snowing, and when you enter inside, it melts. And it's been in both our demos, and I don't think anybody even picked it up. And that's the kind of detail we're aiming for. And this goes for everything, for animation, for physics, for effects, always going for the things that make up the whole image without actually thinking about it. Contrasting this, we have a huge open world. It's at least the biggest game we have created, and it's incredibly big and detailed, and that's a challenge in itself. But at the same time, being in this world and don't have loading times, don't have waiting for maps, don't have to do. It's also a part of the immersion, that you're being in this world and you're living through the crisis, and nothing to stop you from exploring it. At the same time, we also have a lot of dynamic things going on here. We have a live or a day-night cycle going on at all times. We have weather systems that change all the time, and so on. At the same time, this whole world needs to feel alive. It's almost like it's breathing. The weather affects everything. We have the shaders. We have the textures. Everything is made in a way that it feels that it's actually there and it is alive. And then we have this thing, the corridor that I got from the internets today. And this is just an example of how the world reacts to you. It was picked up by people, but this is just one of many things that we do where the actions of the player is affecting the world, and what you do is you don't feel like you're this vessel in a world. You actually feel that you are part of it, and this is just one example. So let's start with the major things. We have this amazing city, which is New York. And when we made the decision in the beginning, we thought, yeah, it's a perfect city to showcase a pandemic. And then we actually started looking at it, and we saw it's incredibly big. So we needed to build a system to be able to cope with this. So building an icon, because this city is just not a collection of buildings, and it actually has a soul, and we needed to replicate that. So everything from the mood, the atmosphere, the architecture, the people, everything, we needed to think of a way of how can we build and make it justice, the amount of detail and the amount of variety that we have in a city like New York. So, no? Yes. We create a building system. So in a movie that I'm going to show you soon, in the beginning you're going to see how this building system works and how easy it is to do different types of architecture, sizes, and variety. And the last part of the movie, it's going to be on the variety we can actually achieve. So it's going to be different environments and different looks on the game. So if we roll that video. Pretty cool, right? Now we have this, we're able to build this world, we're able to populate it with the data we want. Another part that is as important is the light. How does light affect this world? To be able to sell a believable scene and make something that feels realistic, we took a long time to look at how lighting works. And not only lighting that is static, which is like what you could see, like the best lighting that you could see in the last generation was static. Now this generation, when we have more power, we can do more things. And one of the things we're doing is dynamic lighting. So to be able to feel completely immersed in this, and to have a different experience for each time you play. So in the video we're going to show you is in the beginning, it's the full day-night cycle. And you can see how the same street looks completely different, and you can experience it completely different. Then we're going to show you a little bit on indoor, like subway and indoor corridors, for example, and how the mix of natural and electric light looks and works. Then we have all our effects, all our particle systems, and so on, are calculated in the same way. So you have a very realistic look to the lighting. And then we show some night shots showing the volumetric light and so on for this. So if we roll the video. Also pretty cool. So we have the lighting now. It's lighting and atmosphere in the world. Then we need to fill it with all the details. And another thing that is as important as lighting is surfaces and material and how you interact with them, how you feel that this is actually a real place that you're playing in. So we worked a lot on getting all these details. We did very extensive work on shaders, so they work and reflect and act as real materials, so they're physically based. And I could go on more technical thing, but actually for me as an art director, the important thing is that we're portraying a realistic scene, and you're able to experience this world in a way that I don't think you can do normally. And on top of this, the lighting affecting the materials in real time. So I'm going to show you another video, and the first part is going to be on the materials. So you can take a look at, for example, the metals of the car and how it reflects their environment, and then compared to, for example, the bricks or the plastic bags and the reflections of the snow. On top of this, we need this world to be dynamic. So we have weather systems that interact with this shader system, and you can get, for example, snow coverage in the cars and in the roads. To fill this world with even more detail, we worked a lot with, for example, smoke effects, volumetric lighting, and so on. So it feels like there is an actual atmosphere to the scene. And then the last part is that we did a lot of work on fires, for example. That's a very good example because it's a mix of lighting and effect at the same time. And I think we achieved a very good look. So if we roll the movie. So that was also pretty cool. So now that we have a world that feels realistic and is alive and gives you all the immersion that you need, it's about the next step is about reading this world. How do you interact with the world? How do you get the information that you need for gameplay and for navigation and so on? So normally when you work on, for example, UI and mission markers and information to the player, you do things that are actually not part of the world, and you're breaking immersion. In our case, when we developed, for example, the UA system, is that we thought of ways of not breaking immersion, still keeping the player that he feels it is part of the world, and surrounds him with the necessary information, and still feel that is accessing information that is important to him, at the same time that is a part of the world. So in the movie that we're going to show you, the first one is the map, the mega map that we developed. And it was very important for us not to do the typical 2D filter that you normally see that stops you from being immersed in the world. So we put it inside of the world and surrounding the player. At the same time, it needed not only to look cool, it needed to actually be very functional. And it actually looks very cool and is very functional. The second part is about giving information to the player, again, without breaking immersion. So we have a contextual system where it gives you, for example, in this case, the contamination area. And you will see that it shows that area in world and exactly where that happens without actually coming something in between you and the experience. The third part is going to be on gameplay systems and gameplay information. In this case, it's a grenade, or the blast radius of a grenade is going to be showcased in the world and in the area that's going to happen. But you can also see, you can do pulses, you can see people behind covers, and also get information of, for example, if you're getting a healing or something like that. And the last part is going to be about the ecosystem that we use for telling stories. It's a narrative tool for us to explain a moment frozen in time, and using a point cloud system, you can achieve a lot of story and immersion without breaking the gameplay. Like, for example, many games that do cutscenes is that you're breaking the immersion of the game, you're going into something else, and then you're going back to the world. And it works very well for a multiplayer game. Since our game is online only, and you're going to play with friends, if somebody's experiencing a cinematic moment, do you want to get taken away from your experience and see that cinematic moment? Or are you going to wait for that person to get all the experience of that cinematic moment? And this way we can achieve something that is based on the technology that we have for the agents, and at the same time giving immersion and delivering the story. So if we roll the movie. so that's one of the things I'm most proud about the UI that we were able to achieve. But actually, everything we work on from the very beginning when we started is this very concept of immersion. And we have, for example, so many other things that is part of it. Like, for example, I think we have the most advanced destruction system in any game right now. We have one of the most amazing lighting, and also works in real time. We have actually every part of the game is incredible, and we did all of this not because we wanted to do any specific part amazing. All of this is going to the concept of immersion, that we want to deliver a story and an experience to the gamer. So especially for being an RPG game, where it's a lot of information, there's a lot of tactics, there's a lot of things that can very easily get cluttered. We wanted to give a new way of delivering this. And it can only be achieved with the help of the whole team and all the disciplines. Everything from sound designers to artists to programmers, and all working together and on all the different systems, we can achieve this. So I'm actually very, very happy that we were able to do this, and I really hope you can soon enjoy the game, as we do every week. And it's going to be amazing. So thank you very much for coming and seeing this presentation on immersion. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for sharing the game with us as well, and thank you for coming along. I hope you enjoyed it. Next up, we have Heat Signature. I hope you can join us for that too. That's 2 o'clock. If you want to come to that, you need to go out and queue back up again. But yeah, hopefully I'll see you back in here in a tick. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.